1692, Salem. A village where fear blinded humanity. Just a few accusations from young girls led to 200 people being charged with witchcraft. Among them, 20 were hanged in front of everyone, and some poor souls were crushed to death under heavy stones. The question is, was this the power of the devil? Or a fear created by the human mind, where both truth and lies paid the ultimate price? The year was 1692, in a small Puritan village of Massachusetts, Salem. On cold nights, families gathered in their wooden homes, reading the Bible and praying in silence. But beneath this calm, an unsettling fear was beginning to spread. A group of young girls, among them Elizabeth Parris and Abigail Williams, suddenly began to act in strange, terrifying ways. They screamed, they convulsed, and they claimed that unseen forces had taken hold of their bodies. For the villagers, there was only one explanation: witchcraft. Very soon, the girls began pointing fingers. The first accusations fell on 3 women: Tituba, an enslaved woman from the Caribbean; Sarah Good, a poor beggar who lived on the edge of society; and Sarah Osborne, a woman who defied the strict rules of the Puritan church. Their trials were held in public. The entire community watched in fear. People realized that if they spoke out, they could be the next to stand accused. The accusations spread like wildfire. Each day, new names were added to the growing list of suspects. Friends began to distrust friends. Families turned against their own kin. Children and adults alike pretended to be bewitched, collapsing in courtrooms and screaming out names. Salem had fallen into a wave of mass hysteria, where truth and lies became impossible to separate. A special court was established, the Court of Oyer and Terminer. Testimony became evidence only by someone's word. If a child claimed they had seen a certain person sending spirits against them, that person was immediately arrested. Under torture and pressure, many confessed that yes, they had practiced witchcraft, and those who refused to confess were hanged or crushed to death. Within just 1 year, more than 200 people were accused of witchcraft. 20 were publicly executed by hanging. Salem had turned into a living nightmare. But the bigger question was, how did this happen so easily? Was it only religious superstition? Or was it also driven by power, politics, and personal rivalries? The Salem Witch Trials left a permanent scar on American history, a scar that people are still trying to understand today. By the end of 1692, the atmosphere in Salem had grown even darker. But slowly, doubts began to rise. If so many people were truly witches, then why had the village not been destroyed? How could it be possible that every other neighbor was working with the devil? Prominent leaders began questioning the court's credibility. And then, when accusations reached the families of the governor himself, everything began to change. By October 1692, Governor William Phips ordered the Court of Oyer and Terminer to be shut down. He declared that spectral evidence, the mere claim of seeing someone's spirit, would no longer be accepted in court. After that, many cases collapsed. Those who were still imprisoned were mostly released. For the first time, Salem was able to breathe again. By 1693, the trials had come to an end, but they had left a deep mark. Families had lost their loved ones. The village had lost trust in one another. A few years later, the government of Massachusetts officially admitted that the trials were wrong. The families of the victims were granted apologies. Some even received financial compensation. But what was lost could never be brought back. Today, historians say that the Salem witch trials were not just the result of religious fear. Politics, land disputes, personal rivalries all played a role. Some people accused others of witchcraft just to get rid of their enemies. It was a psychological and social breakdown, a time when fear took control over people's minds. and innocence paid the price. Today, Salem is a thriving tourist town. Every year, thousands of visitors come to see the Salem Witch Museum, the historic courthouses, and memorials. During Halloween, the town hosts the famous Haunted Happenings Festival, attracting tourists from around the world. The Salem Witch Trials are not just a part of history, they are a warning. When fear and superstition rule human decisions, innocent people will always pay the price.